what's going on, everyone? This is Roger Dodger here. And, I talked about yesterday when I made my video about a funny dealership story about buying my E46 M3. Kind of wanted to share that today because it's kind of unorthodox, I think, for a dealership. Typically you go in there, you haggle, you wheel and deal. And, it's really a boring, tedious process. If you just want to go there and test drive cars, even that could be a little tedious process because they want your license and this information, cool. But really, you just want to test drive a car. You want to be in and out in, 20 minutes. So, I'm on a business trip in, Silicon Valley because I work in the semiconductor industry. And, I'm bored. We got the day off, and I'm out there with my best friend that I grew up with, and we're doing some deinstalls on some machines, and on a day off, we're bored, and we've seen everything in San Fran that there is to see, 2 times over, because I've been there a couple times. So I told him, I was like, hey, you want to go test drive some M3s? And I had 2 E46 M3s at the time. One was my daily driver, one was my custom one that I kept in the garage. And he was like, yeah, man, let's go test drive some. I'm like, all right. So I'd been looking at E46s anyway, and it's been 4 or 5 years since I had a car payment, so I figured, why not? Let's just go look at them. What are the odds of me buying one? So I call up and I found, I believe it's called Mountain View, BMW, and in San Francisco. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's Mountain View. And they had a silver 2003. I believe it's 2003. Sorry, my memory slips me the older I get. Silver with the 19-inch rims. It was the SMG2 sunroof, because I like the sunroof. Silver with the nice black color combination. Fully loaded, other than the CF roof and manual, pretty much. So it had the heated seats and all that other stuff. So it's a really, really nice car. It didn't have a lot of miles on it. I believe it had 71,000 on it. And so I call up the guy, and I get the guy at the front desk. Hey man, I'm kind of curious about your E46 M3 you have on the lot. Yeah man, I can put you in touch with somebody. Sound like a young kid, maybe in his 20s, early 20s. Yeah man, I'll get you in contact with somebody. I got just a person, that can sell you that car if you're interested in look at it. I'm like, all right, cool man. I just want to really kind of test drive it. So he puts me in contact with the guy. And sorry, I can't remember the salesperson's name, but he is by far the best salesman I have ever met in my life. And, he's like, yeah, man. He's like, why don't you come on over and we'll take a look at the M3. We'll go for a little test drive, and, tell me if you like it or not. All right. Now, when I go into these dealerships, I go in there wearing, t-shirt, a hat, and sneakers and some shorts. I don't look like your typical, more like skater style, not so much Dockers, polos. I wear this because I'm going to work. That's, my company name. So, and I have to. But, so when I get there, I expected to fully be blown off by this guy. You know what I mean? Because how they typically do it at dealerships, no problem. So he's like, yeah, just go over there and wait by the car. I'll be out in a minute, because I call him and let him know that I'm there. So I'm standing beside the car, me and my buddy. We're just talking, and I'm like, what are the odds of anybody ever coming out here? Oh man, I don't know, man. Maybe he'll show up. He's like, you look like shit. I'm like, yeah, do that on purpose. Because I want to see if they give me the same attention with normal clothes on, and then if I had look like I could actually afford the car. And I do this for haggling reasons. And the guy comes out. I see he's got like an M jacket on, and he just throws the keys across the parking lot. And I gotta catch him, he's gonna land and scratch the car up, right? He's like, all right, man, let's go for a test drive. And I'm like, you don't need my license? No, man, don't need none of that, man. Come on, let's go for a ride. He's like, this is the best part of the job. I'm like, okay. Now, I had never driven an SMG before. It would be my first time other than in video games. And in video games, it's a little harder to do hand controls as opposed to, say, pedal controls. and with the paddles. So, because, you know, I had to get used to going from a manual to just, you know, mashing on the gas and then shifting. And so he tells me, he gives me a little bit of education on how to drive the car and so on and so forth. So clearly I knew that he was educated in M's, because he proceeds to tell me that he has one himself, an E46. So I'm like, all right, this is the absolute most perfect guy to drive the car, you know, to test drive the car with. So, you know, we're going out and whatever. He's like, yeah, why don't we go take it on the highway and, you know, rev it up a little bit and let's get going. So I take it on the highway, and he's like, now this thing has got, and I think it's an 8100 rev line to it, you know, before you got to shift. He tells you that a shift light will come on once it hits the end of the red, you know, go ahead and shift before the rev limiter pops in. Okay, not a problem, you know. So I'm hitting second gear, you know, and he's just looking at me like I'm a sissy. And I'm like, wait, what are you looking at me for? He's like, are you gonna go faster, or are you gonna drive it like a grandpa? I'm like, okay, I'll get on it, you know. So he's like, downshift. So I downshift, you know, and he's like, now punch it. I'm like, okay. Whoa, and he's like, don't shift yet, don't shift yet. And I'm like, you sure, you sure? And I'm holding on to this thing for dear life. He's like, shift down. And I'm like, oh shit. He's like, keep getting it, keep getting it. I'm like, you sure? And I'm going through like fourth gear and stuff, and man, I'm telling you, and he just keeps telling me, come on, get it, come on, top this baby out. And I'm looking at this guy like he's a freaking nutcase, right? I'm doing 140 in this car on the San Francisco freeway before I tell him, hey man, I gotta let off because this is my ticket, not yours. And I'll get thrown in jail for this shit. He's like, all right, you did all right, you did all right. I mean, it was really, really cool, that, because I've never seen that before, you know. You know, when I bought this one, you know, the E92, I bought it in Houston, Texas, at another BMW dealership. And those guys were like, oh man, don't, you know, slow down, you don't have to go so fast. And I kind of wanted to throat punch the guy because, hey, I'm buying the car and I'm going to test drive it the way I feel like it. So it was really, really cool. And the guy afterwards, you know, he gave me his name, his number. You know, I just wanted to test drive it today. He's like, hey, no problem, man. I'm not going to call you. You call me if you're interested in the car. First time I'd ever heard that, because usually these guys will stalk you, you know, to buy a car. So 2 days later, I called him back up. Hey, man, you mind if I test drive the car again? Not a problem. I'm running through the gears again, you know, just hitting it. I don't do 140 that day. But, you know, I get it up to about, you know, 110, you know, and just kind of going through the SMG, because I'm, you know, I took a day off. This is 2 days later, to really kind of read everything I could about the SMG, things that go wrong with it, the pump failures and everything else, and how much it's going to cost to fix and stuff like that. But I didn't see any problem with the car at all. Zero issues with the car. So that day I ended up buying the car, and it was really, really cool because it was a nice car. I paid 21 grand for it. This is back, I mean, I've had this car for 4 years, and I had that car for about a year and a half. So we're talking 5.5 years ago. Not a bad price. I mean, they still go for roughly that price today, you know, for you know, one with the lower mileage and stuff like that. So really, really fun experience. And on top of that, he's like, hey, let's go in the back into the parking garage. I'll show you mine. So he shows me his. He's got a manual, the midnight blue one, really, really nice. He had just got done installing the carbon fiber roof. So he had the sunroof. He had all that taken out, and he had put in the carbon fiber roof. He hadn't even put in the headliner yet because it was on order, because he had the sunroof headliner and not the full roof headliner. So so his car was a little in pieces, I guess you could say, for the roof, but the actual CF roof was on there. And it was a really, really nice looking car. He had it lowered. He has some, you know, really nice rims, aftermarket rims on it. I mean, really, really nice car. And, you know, when I went into the dealership, you know, they had a Laguna Seca blue one, which is the ultimate E46 M3 that I want. Either that one or the Phoenix Gold yellow one, but I would take the Laguna Seca blue one over the yellow. It's kind of like this color of my hat. And come to find out that the kid who answered the phone, I guess you could say the receptionist or whatever, the one that got me in contact with the M owner, the seller, he actually raced E46 M3s, and his parents are filthy rich, is what the seller was telling me, and that they have an E46 race team, M3 race team. So he gets to race cars, and that's how he got his job at the dealership. Yeah, that was reception. It's just some job, so that way he can get discounts on his parts. So really, really cool experience overall, and I doubt I'll ever have that experience again. I mean, if the guy is still working in the business, you know, and if I'm ever in the market for another M3, you know, other than this one, so this is the cheapest one I can find in the nation. You know, if I wanted to splurge a little bit, maybe I'll call him back up, fly out to San Fran, and just take a trip, you know, from San Fran to New York, because that would be pretty cool just to have that experience with this seller again, because you just don't see that. Really extremely hard to find these guys. And when it came time to do all the paperwork, man, I sat back, I did nothing, told him what I wanted to pay for the car, and he came in exactly with what I wanted to pay and everything. I mean, it was the most completely hassle-free experience of my life buying a car. And you know, and I just hope everybody gets to experience that one time or another, no matter what car that you're buying, whether it be an Audi, Mercedes, Ford Mustang, Camaro, Corvette. You know, who cares? You know, that is what I call, you know, true customer experience, customer service experience, and it's really hard to find these days. To find somebody who actually probably enjoys his job, and he probably enjoys, you know, talking to other M enthusiasts. So there you go, guys. That is my awesome M3 buying experience. So like I said, my experience after that wasn't the best. It was more, you know, wheel and deal in business with this car, but I still got the deal that I wanted. I just didn't get the customer service experience I wanted. So all right, guys, you know, if you like this video, you know, smash that like button. You know, if you like my videos, also give me a subscribe if you feel like it. You know, not a problem. I'm trying to do videos pretty often and stuff. You know, we'll see how it goes. You know, I'm typically a diecast channel. If you haven't figured that out, I'm a Hot Wheels enthusiast, and you know, but Hot Wheels hasn't released anything really that great, so I haven't really done a lot of Hot Wheels videos, but I do those also. So I just wanted to mix up some, you know, real M3 videos in there in the meantime and stuff like that. So thanks everyone, you know, as always, for watching. I do appreciate it, and have a good one. Roger Dodger, I'm out.